Hi everybody, Sean from MediaAssault here, and this week I'm going to be taking a very quick look at a film that I picked up last week. If you watched my Hollywood Video DVD haul video, you'll know that I paid 75 cents for this movie, and the movie is Man-Thing. And this movie is an adaptation of a Marvel comic character from the 1970s. A lot of changes have been made to the character from its original origins, and they're all for the worse. This movie does not make a whole lot of sense. I'll give you a real quick synopsis of the plot, which basically centers around an area in Louisiana. There's a swamp, and it's supposedly loaded with oil. So this company, Schist Industries, I'm not making that name up, they come in and they buy up all the land, the swamp land, from the Native Americans who live there, except for one. And he holds out and then he disappears. And then the oil company throws a drilling rig up on the land and the Native Americans aren't happy. So some environmentalists are protesting this oil company coming in and taking the Indians' land. And the sheriff of the town disappears. A whole bunch of people disappear and are presumed murdered. So a new sheriff comes to town, and he's gonna solve the case immediately. He puts it on, he makes it priority one. He's gonna find out what's going on. So he confronts the guy who runs Schist Industries, and he's played by an actor named Jack Thompson, who looks familiar, but I'm not sure what else he's been in. And kind of finds out that this Schist guy, because he's pumping all this money in the local economy, he kind of runs the county and can pretty much do as he pleases. So he figures that the sheriff's going to go along with whatever he says. And this guy, even though he's sort of young, he's pretty much determined to do what's right. So he's going to get to the bottom of what's going on. He meets up with one of the environmentalist protesters, whose name is Terry. And she's a third-grade teacher by day, but, environmental protester and Native American supporter by night, I guess. I'm not sure. And she kind of introduces him to some of the local legends and a guy named Pete, who is a Native American, who basically knows what's going on and has known the whole time, but doesn't tell anybody. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So all these people are disappearing, and you as the viewer are to suppose that this Man-Thing creature is killing them all. And if you don't know anything about the comic book character, you'd think that the Man-Thing is a villain. But in the comic book, he's not a villain. In this movie, he's portrayed as a villain, sort of. But yet you're supposed to sympathize with him, I think, because he's defending his land. But since he's killing innocent people, that's kind of difficult. And the new sheriff is kind of a wet noodle. He's pretty lame. He falls in love with this Terry character really quick. They fall in love so fast that if this were reality, I would fall in love every time I go to the grocery store, because they barely speak and they start a relationship. So you can't really identify with him. You're not really going to identify with the industrial oil baron guy because he's a bad guy. There are a bunch of rednecks in this movie, and Man-Thing is killing all the rednecks, so, I was kind of not upset with that. But then when he kills, innocent people, like the deputy, okay, well, I can't really sympathize with him. So who the hell am I supposed to care about in this movie? It supposedly takes place in a swamp. It supposedly takes place in Louisiana. It was filmed in Australia. Some of the actors slip into Australian accents now and again, which is kind of hilarious. You get the feeling watching this that it's sort of a bad interpretation of what people outside of America think Southern Americans are like, so it's real stereotypical. There are a lot of unpleasant people in this film. I don't know where to start with I really can't tell you what I like about this movie. There's nothing I like about this movie. It's just awful. And the swamp scenes, the ones that take place at night, everything looks the same. It's all shot through like a green hue, and you'd swear if you were paying any attention, and trust me, that was very difficult to do, that they're basically going around the same set of trees from different angles over and over and over again. It's just terrible. The man thing is interesting looking, obviously CGI, and if he was a guy in a rubber suit, sort of like the Swamp Thing movies back in the 80s, you might find this sort of entertaining on a campy level, but this movie takes itself so seriously that it's impossible to like, even as a so bad it's good type film. It's just crap. I don't want to say high hopes for this film, but I had some hope for this film because it was a Marvel Comics adaptation. I mean, Stan Lee put his name on this as an executive producer. Avi Arad produced it. It was directed by Brett Leonard, who did The Lawnmower Man. There's some quality sprinkled on the resumes of the people that are associated with this movie. But knowing that it was straight to video should have been my first tip that it was not anywhere near as good as I thought it might be. And like I said, I'm really trying to come up with something that I liked about this film, and I can't think of one thing that I liked about this movie. It's boring. It's not scary. There's no suspense. The characters suck. The special effects aren't all that great. I mean, they're okay. It's a CGI creature. And anybody with a home computer and a little bit of time can come up with a character that looks as good as this one, so big deal. If there was some real thought put into the design of this character, where they would have done it, old school style with a rubber suit or something, I might have at least appreciated on that level. But man, this is just suck from the word go, man. It's terrible. So I give it a big thumbs down to Man Thing. I'll give it a 1 out of 10, only because I really never have given a 0 before. This movie is terrible, so please avoid Man Thing at all costs. And again, if you see this on the video store shelf, run. Do not walk away from it. Awful. Terrible. So anyway, that's my look at Man Thing, the Marvel Comics adaptation from 2005. So that's it. And stay tuned here to MediaAssault's channel on YouTube for more movie reviews, video game reviews, music reviews, and other stuff coming your way real soon. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button, wherever that is, depending on how you're watching this. If you're watching on Facebook, please double-click the video and get to the main page for my channel, hit subscribe, and that way you'll get caught up on all the latest stuff from MediaAssault. So thanks again for watching, and take it easy.